Hello, dear viewers. Welcome back. Today I will continue to bring you a story that you will definitely enjoy. As usual, prepare a cup of tea and let's explore the story together. At the corporate party, my unfaithful wife's boss confronted me, declaring, "From now on, she's mine to control, and you'll support her and your pathetic life. Resist, and I'll leave you with nothing." My revenge was swift and ruthless. The night of the company celebration was supposed to be a joyous event. My wife, Clara, had been excited for weeks, investing in a stunning emerald dress, hiring a professional stylist, and insisting I wear my finest suit. She wanted us to appear as the perfect couple, the kind everyone admired. As we entered the grand ballroom of the St. Marlowe Hotel, I felt the facade hanging between us like a fragile thread ready to snap. Over the past 6 months, Clara had become distant. Her laughter felt forced, her late-night work meetings too frequent. Whispers and side glances at office events had only added to my unease. Then there was him, Victor Langston, her CEO. Victor was a man who exuded power and dominance. His tailored suits, flashy cars, and overwhelming confidence seemed to demand attention wherever he went. Throughout the evening, Victor's presence loomed over the party. Every time he passed, Clara's gaze instinctively followed, like a moth drawn to a flame. The pieces of the puzzle were clear, but I needed undeniable proof, and tonight, I intended to get it. As the evening progressed, I stood at the bar nursing a glass of whiskey, my eyes tracking Clara as she moved across the room. Her smile was bright, but her movements were tense and restless. Meanwhile, Victor always seemed to be nearby, his touch lingering too long, his whispers coaxing smiles too easily. The tipping point came when Clara excused herself to the restroom, and Victor discreetly followed moments later. My heart pounded as I set my drink down and followed them. They didn't head to the restroom but slipped into a private lounge, the door closing firmly behind them. Pressing my ear against the door, my stomach churned as I caught snippets of their conversation. "I'm tired of sneaking around," Victor said, his tone smug. "When are you going to tell him?" Clara hesitated. "Victor, you don't understand. Liam isn't stupid. He'll do nothing," Victor interrupted, his voice dripping with disdain. "Men like him are cowards. Besides, once I'm done with him, he won't have the resources to fight back." My fists clenched, but I forced myself to remain quiet. This wasn't the right moment to confront them. When they finally emerged, Clara's face was flushed, her eyes darting nervously around the room. Victor, on the other hand, appeared triumphant, like a predator relishing his conquest. I returned to the bar, masking my anger with a casual demeanor. My revenge would come soon, and it would be devastating. I hadn't moved, but my mind was racing. Later that evening, as the party began to wind down, Victor approached me. He clapped a firm, almost possessive hand on my shoulder. "Liam, isn't it?" he asked, flashing a smile that was all teeth but no warmth. "Clara speaks highly of you. Says you've been very supportive of her career." The condescension in his tone was undeniable. "Of course," I replied evenly. "Her success means the world to me." Victor leaned in closer, his voice dropping to a low, mocking whisper. "Good. You'll need to keep that attitude, because from now on, she's mine to control. You'll support her and your pitiful existence, or I'll make sure you're left with nothing." I stared at him, stunned by his sheer arrogance. Before I could respond, he gave my shoulder another patronizing pat and walked away, his laugh echoing in my ears. That night, as Clara slept soundly beside me, I lay awake, staring at the ceiling, replaying Victor's words. He thought he could strip me of everything, my wife, my dignity, my future, but he was wrong. If he wanted a war, I would give him one, and I wouldn't lose. The next morning, I began preparing my arsenal. I reached out to old friends in the finance world, people who owed me favors. On the surface, Victor's reputation was immaculate, but no one climbs as high as he had without leaving behind skeletons. My contacts delivered. Within days, I had a dossier on Victor's shady dealings, offshore accounts, falsified financial reports, and most damning of all, a hush money payout to silence an affair with another employee. Then, I turned my attention to Clara. Using her phone, I tracked her movements, discreetly planted a recording device in her car, and monitored her emails. It wasn't long before I unearthed the evidence, explicit messages between her and Victor, outlining their plans to be together. Each word felt like a stab to the heart, but I didn't let the betrayal cloud my focus. This wasn't just personal, it was about justice. With everything in place, I launched my plan. Victor was set to host a high-profile investor gala the following weekend, an event critical to his company's future. It was the perfect opportunity to strike. I anonymously tipped off a prominent financial journalist about Victor's offshore accounts and falsified reports, supplying all the documentation needed to expose the scandal. At the same time, I sent copies of the affair messages to the company's board of directors, ensuring his personal and professional lives would collide spectacularly. On the night of the gala, I attended with Clara, playing the part of the dutiful, supportive husband. She seemed nervous, her eyes darting toward Victor every few minutes, but she had no idea what was coming. Midway through the evening, the pieces of my plan began to fall into place. The evening reached its turning point as Victor delivered a speech on integrity and innovation. Suddenly, the room's energy shifted. Phones buzzed with breaking news alerts, and whispers rippled through the crowd like wildfire. The journalist I had tipped off had just published their explosive exposé, complete with undeniable evidence of Victor's financial misconduct. The board members in attendance wasted no time. They convened an emergency meeting on the spot, leaving Victor stranded on stage, struggling to maintain composure. But I wasn't done yet. As chaos spread through the room, I turned to Clara. "You might want to check your email," I said, my voice calm and steady. She frowned, pulling out her phone. The color drained from her face as she read the forwarded messages, her own incriminating texts to Victor. "Liam, she began, her voice trembling. "Save it," I interrupted coldly. "You made your choice, Clara. Now you can live with the consequences." By the end of the night, Victor's career was in shambles. The board voted to remove him as CEO, and police officers were waiting outside to question him about his offshore accounts. Clara, caught in the fallout, was fired for her role in the scandal. Her dreams of a glamorous life with Victor crumbled before her eyes. The next day, I filed for divorce, ensuring I retained the majority of our assets. Clara begged for forgiveness, but I was finished. She and Victor had tried to destroy me, but in the end, they were the ones left with nothing. As I walked away from the courthouse, a sense of peace washed over me, a feeling I hadn't known in months. Justice had been served, and I had taken back control of my life. Looking back, I realized that Victor's arrogance was his ultimate downfall. He believed he could manipulate and control me, but he forgot one simple truth. A man with nothing left to lose is the most dangerous of all. Thank you for being part of this journey. If this story resonated with you, please give the video a thumbs up and consider subscribing to our channel. Many of you who enjoy these tales haven't subscribed yet. By joining, you're becoming part of a community that values deep, meaningful storytelling. Let's continue exploring these heartfelt journeys together. Don't forget to click the notification bell so you won't miss our next story. See you in the next stories.